Hey guys, today we're going to cover topic 6.3, and your assignment is going to be to complete all the even numbers. So this is very similar to what we've been doing. We're still going to have to set up a proportion, okay? The only new thing is that you're going to have to know is that the altitudes, the medians, and the angle bisectors are going to be proportional if and only if you know that the triangles are similar. So I want you to write that down somewhere. So again, altitudes, medians, and angle bisectors are proportional. So if you look at number one, we have an angle bisector. It says if triangle ABD is similar, remember that squiggly line means similar, to triangle HGE and segment AC and segment HF are angle bisectors, find X. So it told us that they're similar. Therefore, I know that my angle bisectors are proportional. So I can say 24 corresponds to X. And if I started with this triangle, ABD, I have to start with it again on the other ratio. So I can say 35 goes to 14. If I put the 14 on top and the 35 on the bottom, my whole answer is going to be wrong. Make sure that your corresponding parts go together. And so here it's pretty simple. We just cross multiply once we have our proportion. So 35 times X, I get 35X. And 24 times 14. So I get 336. And then my last step is to divide by 35. So I can isolate that X. And I get 9.6. X equals 9.6. On number three, it says if triangle WVX is similar to triangle RTS, find X. So here, and it really doesn't matter if you have a median, an altitude, or an angle bisector because the idea is the same. Okay, that line that's going through your triangle, okay, it's going to be proportional to the other line. So, but if you want to understand the difference, okay, this is an altitude because we have a right angle. If you remember finding the area of a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. Your height is the altitude. Your base and your height make a right angle. So altitude is another name for height. Okay, again, that's really not that important. It's just if you want to understand what the difference is between those three. So I can say 27 goes with 24. Since I started with this triangle, I'm going to put 3x minus 21 on top. And x plus 13. Then I can cross multiply, but if you're like me and you really don't like dealing with big numbers, you can reduce this. So these both divide by 3. I get 9 over 8. So those are the numbers again I'm going to be working with. Now that I have that, I can cross multiply. And I'm going to multiply 8 times the whole thing. So I'm going to put parentheses. And I'm actually going to write that on the right side. And then I have 9 times x plus 13. Again, I'm going to put my parentheses. Okay, and the reason is because you have to remember to distribute. You're going to multiply that 8 and that 9 into both of those terms. So you get 24x here minus 168 equals 9x plus 117. And then at this point, it just becomes algebra. Remember, you have x's on both sides, so move them over to one side. And you get x is 19. All right, number 5 says if triangle MNP is similar to triangle TSR and segment NQ and segment SU are angle bisectors, find TS. So because the triangles are similar, remember that my angle bisectors are proportional. So I can say 39 over 26 equals, now I started with 39, so I'm going to start with 5x minus 2 over 3x plus 1. Same thing as the last time, you can reduce the fraction so that you don't have big numbers to work with. So you get 3 over 2. Now you can cross multiply. So I get x is 7. But remember, it was asking me to find TS, and TX is 3x plus 1. So all I'm going to do is replace my x with 7, which gives me 22. All right. So now for these last few problems, it says that segment QS represents an angle bisector, and it wants us to solve. So I'm going to start. So now it's one triangle getting split into two triangles with that angle bisector, but it's the same idea. Just understand which parts are proportional. So PS is proportional to SR. So I can say 5 goes with X. Since I started with the 5 over here, I'm going to start with the 7. 7 goes to 12.6. Now I can cross multiply. So I get X equals 9. So for number 9, it's the exact same thing. PS is proportional to SR, and PQ is proportional to QR. Okay, the only thing, it looks like we're missing SR, but we know that the whole thing is 70, right? So we can subtract 42, because if you take the whole thing minus a part, it gives you the remaining part, and you should get 28. So really, we do know what SR is. So I'm going to go ahead and put 28. So now I can say something like 42 corresponds with 28, and X corresponds with 35. Remember that I started with the left triangle. Okay, so I have to start with that same triangle. And at this point, I'm just going to... So I get 52 points. All right, so the last one we're going to do together is number 11. So same idea here. I know that SR corresponds with PS. So I know that 5 corresponds with something. It looks like, I don't know what that is, but maybe I can plug something in. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish the other ratio. I know that 26 corresponds with 31.2. So remember what we talked about on the last problem we did together? We know that if we take the whole thing, subtract the part that you know, you get the remaining part. Now, in this case, we don't have any numbers. So this is literally what we're going to plug in for PS. It's just the whole thing minus 5, which is X. Okay, so X minus 5, that's PS, whatever X is. We're just going to leave the expression as is. And then we cross multiply. And so we get X is 11. All right, guys, that's all I have. Thanks for watching.